Hi class, I'm Professor Diane, this is Suhail, and this is session 4, demonstration and speech. For this speech, I'm gonna do how to make gluten-free baked apple cider donuts. And this recipe is from smashpeasandcarrots.com. How many of you know or perhaps suffer from the celiac disease or have a gluten intolerance or an allergy? For the last 2 years and a half, I've been away from gluten since I have a gluten intolerance, and the way that I found this was having a lot of migraines and a lot of stomach discomfort, and my arms were getting numb, my legs were getting numb at night time, especially when it was time to go to bed, and my joints were aching, and I was feeling very tired most of the time, and all I wanted to do is just being in my bed. And I came to the point that I was even feeling depressed about not being able to do the things that I was used to do, moving around. I used to being here and there, like work with the kids in school and with my children in the house, and I was just so tired and lacking so much energy that I decided to go see my doctor. And he found out that after 5 days of being in a gluten-free diet, he found out that my body does not digest gluten. Perhaps you want to know what is gluten. You don't know. If you don't know anybody that suffers from the celiac disease or have any gluten intolerance, you might not know what gluten is. And according to the Celiac Disease Foundation, in the article What is Gluten, they say that gluten is a general name for the protein found in wheat. And it can be in the semolina, in the spelt, the farina, the farro, the rye, and the barley. And what gluten does is it works like a glue. It's what it holds the foods together. And you can find gluten in cakes, breads, pasta, and other items that are made out of wheat. So this recipe is very simple. It's in simple ingredients. If you are not gluten intolerant or does not have the celiac disease, then you can just use your all-purpose flour for this recipe, and they will work perfectly. You will not have to add or take anything away from this recipe. You will need 1.5 cups of gluten-free flour. I'm going to start with the dry ingredients. You'll need a teaspoon of baking powder and a teaspoon of baking soda. I have everything already prepped, so for sake of time, you'll need a teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. You need 1/2 cup of sugar and 1/2 cup brown sugar. So this is for all the dry ingredients. You are going to whisk and make sure that all the ingredients are I'm heating the oven at 350 degrees for 10 minutes. That's the cooking time. So you want to have the oven preheated. So there it is. So you're gonna whisk all the dry ingredients first. You want to make sure that the baking powder and the baking soda are well incorporated in all the dry ingredients, so they don't make these lumps that it might not break when they're baking, and they do not taste really good. They will give you a different taste. So the gluten-free flour that I'm using is a 1-to-1. You can soak your all-purpose flour for this gluten-free flour, and you don't need to add or take anything away. All right, my dry ingredients are well blended. Now we're gonna add the wet ingredients. So for the wet ingredients, you'll need 1/2 cup of apple cider, but you're gonna reduce 1 cup of the apple cider. So you actually need a cup of apple cider. You're gonna put it in a pot, and you're gonna put a stick of cinnamon, and maybe if you want to, this is optional. I just like it because this recipe just screams autumn, and it just goes with this season really well. So you are just gonna put a dash of nutmeg. That would just elevate the flavors even more. With the apple and the cinnamon, it will make a very good treat for the kids, like, or yourself, or anybody that if you want to share with. You put all the apple cider in it. It has some of the spices in there. You need a 1/4 cup of milk. I'm using almond milk because I'm lactose intolerant as well. You'll need a teaspoon of vanilla, 1 large egg, and 2 tablespoons of melted butter. This is the season for baking and cooking, and I personally love baking and cooking. It is something that I enjoy all the time, especially when I'm in stressful situations or I'm overwhelmed about anything. I just bake or cook. It just relaxes me and calms me down, so that's a good thing. I'm almost every week, every week I'm baking or cooking something for my kids, for myself, or just to share with my co-workers or my church. So you're gonna mix all the ingredients together. Make sure that there's no lumps. It's gonna be like kind of sticky. The oven is ready. It's gonna be like a kind of a sticky mixture, but it's all right. They will be soft and delicious. So if you know somebody with celiac disease, this is or gluten intolerance, or just if you want to be away from gluten, if you perhaps have arthritis, or you have inflammation, these gluten-free diets are good to go. Gluten-free doesn't mean healthy. It just, if you have an allergy, you want to keep away from it, but it's not necessarily healthy stuff. All right, so this is a tip I'm going to share with you. For this part of the recipe, this procedure, you need 3 hands, because you need to fill the pipe bag. So you can put the mixture in this donut pan. This is the regular size donut pan. And so what I do is I get a tall cup and I put the piping bag inside. And that's my third hand is just holding the bag for me. And I just put the mixture inside. There you go. Or another thing that you can do, put a little bit more in this one because I will not need. So that's it. So there you go. You have the piping bag full with the mix. Just bring the mix down. And you can start filling your pan. So you'll need just like 3/4 of the mix in the pan. You don't need to go all the way to the top. You want to have a donut, not a muffin top. So that's one of the tips. The other thing that you can do if you don't have piping bags is to use a sandwich bag. You open the bag, you put it flat on the table, put the mix inside. Make sure that you get the mix inside. Excuse me. Then you are going to just squeeze it to a corner. You're gonna have a tip. Like, I don't know if you can appreciate it. There's a tip. So you're gonna cut that tip out and you're just gonna squeeze, and you'll see how the mixture is coming out. So you can keep filling the mold with the mix. Remember, just like maybe 3/4 of, if it might be like it's not mixing, but then you're gonna like tap it on the table or on a flat surface that you're working on. You go up. All right, once you have them up, just tap it a little bit. They will get together. You stick them in the oven. They're gonna bake 350 degrees for 10 minutes. And I have delicious donuts. So you're gonna wait that they cool down a little bit. Maybe you want to use, after they cool down, use a toothpick, a wooden toothpick. Go around a little bit after they cool down. And the final touch to make it more flavorful and more fall inspired donuts, you're gonna stick it in the back with some sugar and cinnamon. Stick the back, peel the back, shake it together. Shake it, shake it, shake it. And here you go. You have a delicious apple cider gluten-free baked donut. Thank you. I hope you enjoy, and I'm going to be sharing the recipe with you guys as well. Thank you for watching. See you next week.